Part 14. Shocking. She came back with a smaller version of the boss. Author, and Nose. Chapter 131. Chapter 131 Jedi Counterattack. Chenrishi chuckled and clicked the vote. I personally also hold 2% of the shares of Black Hawk Group. Master Lusan, you lose. Lu Ziwen looked extremely ugly. Although he knew that Black Eagle Holdings was not necessarily a bad thing and that the third master would handle it well, it was just to paralyze Chenrishi, but he still felt unhappy. A cold voice came from outside, not necessarily. Gu Si pushed Lu Zi, who was sitting in a wheelchair, into the conference room. He was sickly and frail, with a haggard face, but his eyes were shining. I'm not dead yet, and it's not your turn to elect the chairman of the Lu family Chable. Everyone in the conference room was surprised, including Lu Ziwen. Dad, he stood up and came to Lu Zi, are you awake? Gu Si smiled lightly and asked, are we not late? It's better to come early than to arrive late. Lu Shiji's face turned pale with fright. Lawyer Yang's documents fell to the ground and he closed his eyes in despair. Chenrishi and Ji Xian looked at each other and realized that they had failed. Zhang Junlin was in a very good mood, blowing hot tea. Mr. Ji, this is God's will. Ji Sun supported his chin, shrugged, winked evilly, and lowered his voice, it doesn't matter, whoever wins is the same to me. Lu Zi was coughing. Gu Si gave him a pill. Lu Zi's coughing gradually stopped. Gu Si pushed him forward. Lu Shiji didn't dare to look at him. Lu Zi said, the meeting is over. Lu Zi has woken up, and this shareholders meeting is meaningless. Chenrishi looked at Gu Si and thought that if Lu Zi could wake up, he must not be brain dead. From beginning to end, it was a scam. Lu Zi was not brain dead and the hospital concealed the news. Xiao Si, you are really amazing, I am impressed. Gu Si met his gaze and said calmly, I protect the most important person to me. Chenrishi did not expect to be plotted by Lu Ziwen and Gu Si. No wonder Lu Ziwen was confident, and he was not afraid of offending the major shareholders. It turns out that his trump card is still alive. What a pity, we almost captured the Lu family Chable. Chenrishi could afford to lose. He stood up and said gently, Chairman Lu has just recovered from a serious illness and needs more rest. I wish you good health and a long life. Lu Ziwen and Gu Si looked at him together, their eyes burning. Chenrishi's words were gentle and sincere, and there was nothing wrong with them. However, they still heard Chenrishi's warning and malice. Lu Zi has been in the shopping mall for decades, and he is not a fuel-efficient lamp. I am in good health and will live to be 90, so there will be no problem. Chenrishi led his people and exited calmly. Ji Sun also followed him and left. Those shareholders who had fought with Lu Zi looked ashamed and wanted to greet them, but Lu Ziwen stopped them. Lu Zi said, the Lu family wants to clean up the house today, so I won't send you far away. Su Tingting, Lu Shiji, and Lawyer Yang were all brought back to the Lu family mansion. Lu Shixiu got the news in advance and was waiting. He felt uneasy. He did not participate in the shareholders' meeting, but he also understood that the three of them, mother and son, were gone. Lu Shiji knelt down as soon as he returned to the mansion, with tears streaming down his face. Dad, I was wrong. I was obsessed with it. Please forgive me. I just want to obey the will and preserve Lu's hard work. Lu Zi looked cold and said to the steward, go get my tea and make it for them all. Yes, the butler took out the tea can, took out the tea leaves, and made the tea. His movements were very graceful and beautiful. Su Tingting took a look and looked away. The tea was quickly brewed, and the steward brought it over and poured it for both mother and son. Su Tingting, mother, and son all drank tea. Lu Zi asked, is the tea delicious? Lu Shixiu was uneasy and said, Dad, you can only get a pound of this tea. Of course it is delicious, smooth, and fragrant. Okay, there's half a caddy left, I'll take it back to you. Okay, thank you Dad. Su Tingting felt inexplicably uneasy, and so did Lu Shijia. Lu Ziyi waited for them all to drink tea, and the butler poured the tea again. Su Tingting said, Shijia's injury hasn't healed yet, so drink less tea. Can't he drink tea if he is injured? Lu Ziyi smelled the tea. Black tea is warm in nature and not harmful to the body. Let him drink more. Lu Shijia didn't dare to say anything. He drank another drink and the butler poured it again. Su Tingting's palms were already sweating a little. The calmer Lu Ziyi is, the more panicked they become. Su Tingting gave Lu Shijia a look. She couldn't understand a word about the will, so she had to cut off her arm to survive. Master, I was wrong. Lawyer Yang and I forged the will together. Shijia and Shixiu had no knowledge of it. I was confused for a moment. Your will was so unfair. Everything was given to Lu Ziwen, except for 2 technology companies. The 2 sons had nothing, so I was not convinced, so I worked with Lawyer Yang to modify the will. Lawyer Yang also knelt down and begged for mercy. Chairman, I have nothing to say. It was my greed that made me a big mistake. Lu Shixiu slumped in his chair and muttered to himself, is the will a fake? Mom, why did you do this? Lu Shijia was also filled with grief. Mom, why did you lie to me? I thought Dad really trusted me and my abilities and handed over the Lu group to me. Su Tingting shed tears and quibbled, while her 2 sons looked at her with disappointment. Lu Ziwen drank tea lazily. Stop acting and call the police. No, Su Tingting exclaimed, Master, I have followed you for decades, and I have worked hard without any credit. I am just not convinced. Why are they all your sons? You want to give all the property to Lu Ziwen, Shijia, and Shixiu, also your son. Su Tingting, Lu Shijia, you have to understand one thing. If I am willing to give you a penny, you will keep it. If I am not willing to give it to you, you will have nothing. Lu Ziyi said with a sullen face, my property, it is my freedom how to distribute it. The Lu family's ancestral property is not yours. Lu Shijia's eyes were red, he was unconvinced, angry, and unwilling. Dad, I've always known you were partial, but I didn't expect you to be so partial. Lu Shijia held back the pain in his heart. Shixiu and I are also your sons legally, we have the right to inherit. Do you want to go to court with me? Lu Ziyi put down the teacup without getting angry. Lu Shijia resisted his gaze, stubbornly refusing to show any weakness. I am partial, what can you do? Dad, Lu Shijia and Lu Shixiu exclaimed in disbelief. Lu Shijia, I don't accept it. Lu Ziyi threw the teacup. You don't accept it, so you poisoned my tea, right? The teacup smashed on the floor and shattered, tea splashed everywhere. Su Tingting's face changed drastically. Old man, what are you talking about? How could we poison you? Gu Si took out the hospital's appraisal report. This is the toxin report of the tea. The dry test is non-toxic, but after brewing the tea, there is a slight toxin. It is a chronic poison. Unknown pollen was found in Uncle Lu's 4 cans of tea. End of this chapter. Shocking. She came back with a smaller version of the boss. Author, and knows. Chapter 132. Chapter 132. Does she like the third master or him? Su Tingting and Lu Shijia's expressions changed greatly. Lu Shixiu shook his head and panicked. Dad, we are a family and we will not harm you. There must be something wrong. Gu Si, are you deliberately trying to frame us? He thought about it and felt it made more sense. You deliberately framed us in order to help Lu Ziwen, you are so cruel. Even now, I still want to deny it, Lu Ziyi said angrily. Su Tingting, I treat you well. You went from having nothing to now who doesn't call you Mrs. Lu. Why are you dissatisfied? You actually want to kill me and seek family property. Mrs. Lu. Su Tingting had tears in her eyes. They call me Mrs. Lu on the surface, but they are laughing at me behind the scenes. I have given birth to 2 sons and can't even enter the Lu family. Mrs. Lu is just a joke. When you followed me, I told you that I would not marry you, so you should not have extravagant hopes. Lu Ziyi was ruthless. If you follow me, your whole family will have no worries about food and drink. In addition to a certificate, I should give you, it's all yours. If you are married, take care of the housework, and make money. How can you be as comfortable as following me? You go shopping and shopping every day, and you never consider the price when spending money. You don't need to do laundry and cooking, go to beauty salons every day, and go abroad. You, Su Tingting, you are not a princess. I have raised you to be a princess over the past few decades. Forget it, you are ungrateful. I have also raised your heart. If you don't want to follow me, go away. I am forcing you to do so. Su Tingting's face turned red and white, and her face was trampled under her feet. She had pretended to be gentle and virtuous in front of Lu Ziyi for decades, but she couldn't pretend anymore. Yes, I poisoned and put pollen in your tea, and the children didn't know it. Su Tingting closed her eyes in pain. You have 3 sons, but in your eyes, only Lu Ziwen is your son. In my eyes, Ji and Shixiu are just subordinates. I just want to benefit my son. If you want to call the police, just report it. Mom, Lu Shixiu exclaimed, his face turned pale. He couldn't believe it was true. His mother, poison his father. Lu Shija stood by with red eyes and was in great pain. Su Tingting wiped away her tears and looked directly at Lu Ziyi. I didn't want to take action at first, but Lu Ziwen shot Shija and almost lost his leg, and you protected him, so what should I worry about? You finally admitted it. Lu Ziyi shook his head. His love for Su Tingting cannot be said to be true, but after all, she is a woman who has been with him for decades and raised 2 sons. The meaning is different. Lu Ziyi was heartbroken and disappointed. Lu Ziwen said slowly, I don't care about anything that belongs to the Lu family Chabel. Even if the old man gives it to me, I don't want it. It is something that is within easy reach of you, but it will cause more troubles and nothing will happen. If you teach Lu Shija well, Lu Shixiu, your character is not that despicable. You don't need to be respectful to my brother, even if you are a brother who is superficially decent, or a stranger. Everything in the Lu family belongs to you. It's a pity. Not alive. Lu Ziwen, we don't want you to act hypocritically. Lu Shija was angry. With such a huge property in front of us, who wouldn't be tempted? We will admit defeat if we win or lose. He looked at Lu Ziyi. On the day Lu Ziwen was born, you hugged him and said to me, this is your younger brother. From now on, you must love and protect your younger brother. I also liked my younger brother very much at first. He was well behaved and cute. But he knocked or touched you, and you doubted me as long as I was around. He was counting down the exams and was obsessed with racing, and you showed off everywhere. I ranked first every year, but you never said a word of praise. You told me more than once, Lu's Chabel. From now on, it belongs to Lu Ziwen. I am the elder brother and cannot compete with my younger brother. Why? When I worked for Lu, he had just graduated from elementary school. Why should I give everything to him? They are all your sons. Why was he born like this? If I get everything, I deserve to be trampled under his feet. I can only flatter him and look at his face. Dad, I am also your son. Why are you so partial? I am a human being, why can't I be partial? Lu Ziyi was incredulous and confident. He was born to the person I love, why can't I be partial? His 10 fingers are still as long as each other. Gu Si. It makes sense and cannot be refuted. To Lu Shija and Lu Shixiu, it is obvious that their father is a scumbag. Where did you get this pollen? Gu Si asked. This flower is not common, and it is not found in China. It is non-toxic. Where did you get it? It has nothing to do with you. Su Tingting had a tough attitude. This matter it was revealed that I was incompetent. Lu Ziyi, we have been husband and wife for decades. If you were not too partial, we would not have reached this point. It is natural and right to kill for life. Lu Shixiu panicked and knelt down. Dad, Mom was confused for a moment. Don't call the police. Please, Dad, don't do it so cruelly. My mother was wrong. Please forgive her. You brothers, if you resign from the Lu family chaebol, you will have nothing except a monthly payment from the Lu family fund. I will give all the property to Lu Ziwen. Su Tingting attempted murder and tampered with the will with Lawyer Yang. Call the police. Lawyer Yang collapsed on the ground, knowing that his momentary greed would cost him his reputation and his life. Su Tingting cried loudly, Lu Ziyi, you are so cruel. You are not as ruthless as you, and you almost killed me if I continue to support you. Am I a bodhisattva? The Lu family property turmoil ended with Lu Ziyi waking up, Su Tingting being investigated for poisoning, and being imprisoned. Lu Shijia and Lu Shixiu also lost their inheritance rights to the Lu family, and were expelled from the Lu family by Lu Ziyi. Lu Ziyi was still seriously ill. Lu Ziwen and Gu Xi sent him back to the hospital after he settled the matter. Dr. North became his chief surgeon. Lu Ziyi fell into a coma when he returned to the hospital. Dr. North looked at the worried Lu Ziwen and explained, I have sought your father's opinion. If you use strong medicine, your body will inevitably suffer some damage. Don't worry, the coma is temporary and he will be fine. You will be the surgeon, I'll rest assured. Dr. North went to perform a detailed examination on Lu Ziyi. The hospital was in the corridor, and there was no one there. Lu Ziwen hugged Gu Xi and smelled the familiar light fragrance on her body, and felt peaceful. Did you ask Dr. North? Gu Xi circled his waist, I'm afraid you'll lose. How could I lose? Lu Ziwen was so arrogant that he didn't know how to explain to Gu Xi. No matter whether he won or Black Eagle won, Lu Ziwen could not lose. It's me who wants you, and everything goes as I wish. Gu Xi looked at him gently, you don't care about the gains and losses of the Lu family chaebol. You only have racing in your heart. I understand that, but you don't want Uncle Lu Ziyi's hard work to be ruined. Yu Yi, I also understand. Lu Ziwen's heart moved slightly, and he hugged her tightly. He saw the desperate loneliness in her eyes, and his heart was sour and sweet. Xiao Ci really liked him. But who does she like? Is it him or the third master? Dear children, please update at noon. End of this chapter. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Shocking. She came back with a smaller version of the boss. Author, and knows. Chapter 133. Chapter 133, Sadomasochism, or dog licking. He is confident, calm, and very sure about everything in the world, but this feeling has become the most secret desert rose in his heart from beginning to end. She is a rose that blooms in his barren desert. He is not worthy of having love and attachment. He is a person who cannot even control his own body, so how can he have anyone's love? What's wrong? Gu Xi felt his mood fluctuate. Lu Ziwen pressed the tip of her nose, do you like me so much? Like it? But why do you never ask if I like you? Gu Xi chuckled, why should I ask? Why don't you ask? They are like tongue twisters. Gu Xi's brows were covered with a layer of water, like frost flowers in late spring, beautiful and fragile. Your eyes are saying, I like Gu Xi, so I don't mind your promise. Lu Ziwen hugged her suddenly, his voice hoarse, Xiao Ci, wait for me, wait for me. The two of them have been in the hospital and lost track of time. He said wait for me. Before he could finish the sentence, the third master came online. With Wen Xiangnef right in his arms, Gu Si smiled and looked up to see a pair of slightly cold eyes, every inch of ice. He kept her smile, but she couldn't bear to leave his arms. Third Master. Let me go. As soon as Lu Ziwen lowered his head, he could smell the familiar fragrance lingering on the tip of his nose, stimulating the desire in his heart. Gu Si let go of his hand, and the two of them had a clear understanding of each other. They each took a step back and distanced themselves, like a pair of strangers who were most familiar with each other. You shouldn't bring him to the shareholders' meeting. Lu Ziwen's voice was cold. I have my own plan. Third Master, you are unreasonable. Gu Si chuckled. You don't want to see me, and I don't know your plan. I can only fulfill Lu Ziwen's wish and help him keep the Lu family stable. Lu Ziwen looked at him silently, his deep peach blossom eyes without any emotion, clearly a pair of loving eyes. Day and night, but there are two styles. What if he and I have different opinions? Lu Ziwen asked. As soon as he asked, he regretted it. But it was too late. I help him, Gu Si said, he cares about me wholeheartedly and loves me. If he conflicts with anyone, I will help him. Lu Ziwen's dark eyes showed no emotion, and he turned and left. Gu Si looked at his back, frowned and caught up with him, holding his hand. Lu Ziwen threw it away. Gu Si grabbed it and held it, refusing to let go. Lu Ziwen turned his head and said, Gu Si, let go. Lu Ziwen, in my heart, you and him are the same person. Lu Ziwen looked at Gu Si steadily. Gu Si, my heart belongs to someone else, and it's not you. Gu Si's mind went blank. After Lu Ziwen said that his heart belonged to someone else, he let go of his hand as if he was burned, looked at him blankly, and left without mercy. His heart belongs to someone else, and it's not her. Who is it? Gu Si was walking in the cold wind, her face was pale, like a lonely ghost wandering the world with no home. Li Zhang drove Lu Ziwen and whizzed past her. Lu Ziwen watched her figure getting further and further away from the rearview mirror, blurred in the night. His eyes were also unfathomable, and Lu Ziwen closed his eyes resolutely. Li Zhang was uneasy. Third Master, Miss Gu Si. Be quiet. Li Zhang listened to his cold voice and did not dare to speak any more. Do you belong to someone in your heart? Gu Si looked at the familiar car, which was gradually moving away, and suddenly laughed, madly and coquettishly. Third Master, then you have to hide it well and don't let me know. Chen Rishi was so angry that his heart ached slightly. His security captain tied Dr. North to the hospital. Dr. North looked at Chen Rishi's bloodless face with a bright smile. Xiao Shi, it's just a business. If you lose, you lose. No need to get angry, it will hurt your body. You and Gu Si ruined my good deeds. Chen Rishi gritted his teeth. If it weren't for them, Lu Ziyi wouldn't have woken up in time. Chen Rishi pulled out the gun in the security guard's hand, held Dr. North's hand and pressed it on the table. His gun. He put his mouth on the back of her hand. You have only one choice, be my surgeon, or never become a doctor. With this shot fired, Dr. North has nothing to do with surgery in his life, and can only be an academic expert. Surgery is her life. Ji Huan crossed his chest and leaned against the door, with a smile in his voice. Dr. North, those who know the current situation are heroes. Why should you be stubborn? Your hands are more important than your life. Dr. North looked at Chen Rishi's fierce expression and compromised. I'll check it for you. Thank you. 1 second he wanted to kill her, but the next second he was so graceful. Dr. North frowned. This man was harder to deal with than his father. Ji Xian's phone rang. He glanced at the caller, raised his eyebrows slightly, and said, Mr. Chen, I have something to deal with. Go. After Ji Xian left, Chen truthfully said, if I live, you will live. If I die, you will not survive either. Dr. North chuckled, it's not bad to die together. No, you won't. Chen Rishi smiled firmly, I was raised by you and I know you very well. You hate my dad so much, why do you still deal with him instead of directly killing him? It's because of you I am concerned, I guess. My sister is still alive. Dr. North lowered her eyes. Chen Ryu was smarter than she thought. Black Hawk's goal of controlling Lu's Chable failed, and Lu Ziwen's plan was disrupted. His original intention was to let Black Hawk control Lu's Chable. Considering Ji Sun's record, Ji Sun could gain a foothold in Asia as soon as possible, and also paralyze Chen Rishi. Let him reveal his trump card as soon as possible. This plan failed, and Lu Ziwen and Ji Sun had no choice but to find another way. Li Zhang also knows the troubles of the third master. He can only appear in the dark night. If this secret is exposed, it will be a time bomb in Black Hawk. Chen Rishi is very ambitious. If he knows the secret and becomes unconscious after the third master loses consciousness, he will become a time bomb. It took 3 young men to do it, but the consequences were disastrous. Although third young master is a world-famous athlete with excellent skills, he is not in the same weight class as third master. The two of them are both prosperous and destructive, so the third master is hiding in the dark, and many things are inconvenient. He is in charge of Black Hawk, and he is parachute. The internal forces of Black Hawk are complex, and Chen Ruhen is 50% sure if he wants to usurp power. Downstairs, there was the sound of a violin. No matter how late it is, Gu Ci plays the violin every night without fail. Li Zhang glanced at the third master carefully. Lu Ziwen closed the computer and said, "Go and rest." Yes. Li Zhang thought to himself. He reminded the third master twice to rest, but the third master was indifferent. Sure enough, Miss Gu Ci was more effective, but the third master and Miss Gu Ci, Li Zhang shook his head. Who cares? The third master wants to do sadomasochism, and the third young master wants to be a licking dog. What does it have to do with him? Lu Ziwen listened to the familiar sound of the violin, but felt sleepy. Thinking of Gu Ci's paranoid eyebrows, he rubbed his eyebrows and sighed with helplessness. Why have you become so stubborn? More updates, my dears. End of this chapter. Shocking. She came back with a smaller version of the boss. Author, and knows. Chapter 134. Chapter 134. The third master fell off his horse. Gu Ci played the violin all night. Gu Ci encountered a nightmare in the middle of the night and woke up in a cold sweat. Hearing the familiar sound of the violin, he felt relieved. The sound of Gu Ci's violin soothed the 2 men, one large and one small. When Gu Ci heard the sound of the piano, she knew that he was still with her parents. In her last life, after Gu Ci's hand was disabled, she rarely played the violin again. Ziyu, are you awake? The sound of the piano was interrupted. Gu Ci heard a noise in Ziyu's room and knocked on the door. Gu Ziyu hurriedly wiped away the cold sweat and said, "Mom, I'm awake. It's 5 o'clock in the morning." When Gu Ci opened the door and came in, Gu Ziyu covered up the traces of his nightmare and deliberately yawned sleepily. "Mom, you woke up so early." "I couldn't sleep at night, so I kept playing the violin." "Did it wake you up?" Gu Ziyu shook his head and hugged Gu Ci's waist. "I like to listen to my mother play the violin the most. That was the music that gave him the most peace of mind." Gu Ci tapped the tip of his nose. "Do you want to sleep again?" "I'm not going to sleep anymore, I'm going to class soon." Gu Ci nodded, and after Ziyu washed up, she brought Ziyu to the study. "Baby, your nemesis in Black Eagle." Gu Ci warmed the milk. "Can you tell Mom again?" Gu Ziyu told Gu Ci everything about him and Black Eagle. The milk was heated in the microwave. Gu Ci took it out and handed it to Gu Ziyu. He baked the toast and spread it with rose jam. Ziyu's cheeks bulged after eating, which was very cute. "His IP address has always been overlaid on your address." "Yes, he is so cunning." Gu Ci lowered her head, biting the toast, and asked Gu Ziyu with a smile, Baby, what do you think of your hacking skills? No one in the world, Guzio frowned, except for that mortal enemy, huh? Although he didn't want to admit it, his sworn enemy had located him and knew his detailed information. He knew nothing about his sworn enemy. He was slightly defeated, but Guzio was too arrogant to admit it. In your last life, you didn't meet any opponents. Huh, he often stayed up late, maybe he died young. Guzio sneered and drank the milk in one gulp. Guzie's expression was a little subtle, and she looked at Guzio intently. Mom, what's wrong? Guzio felt that her mother's eyes were a little scary. What did I say wrong? Guzi chuckled, you're right, maybe he died young. Then I wish him another long life. That's not necessary, Guzi quickly interrupted Guzio's words, with a tangled look on her face, and rubbed her eyebrows twice. Lu Ziwen and his son were fighting. Who was she helping? What a good question. Baby, one day, you and Daddy get into a fight, who should I help? Mom, is this a question that needs to be thought about? Guzio's eyes widened in disbelief. I am a baby, of course you have to help me. I knew that my mother was lying to me. In your heart, your father will always be the best. Important. Baby. Guzio got angry, picked up his heavy skull bag and went out without looking back, which was very cool. Guzi, Li Zhang sent a guard to take Guzio to class, and he sent Lu Ziwen to the hospital to see Lu Zi. Guzi, have you arrived at the hospital? How is Uncle Lu's health? Lu Ziwen, just arrived. Guzi pressed the elevator button, went up to the 78th floor, and put away her cell phone. Lu Ziwen, I hate hospitals. After seeing the old man, I went to school to accompany you in class. Guzi went upstairs, and Lu Ziwen's fingerprint lock registered her. Guzi entered the house easily. After learning about Lu Ziwen's dual personality, she never went upstairs. The apartments on both floors are the same. Guzi went to Lu Ziwen's bedroom first. The bedroom was black, white, and gray in a minimalist style. There was a contract on the bedside table in the bedroom. Guzi opened it and found it was a business contract for the Dynasty racing team. Lu Ziwen signed it? She looked through it in the bedroom and found no valid information. Guzi went to the study. There was a lock in the study, which was also a combination lock. She stood in front of the combination lock, thoughtfully, and then pressed Lu Ziwen's usual password, 8888. Fail. Guzi raised her eyebrows and tried Lu Ziwen's birthday again, but still failed. She narrowed her eyes and entered her birthday, 1028. The study door opened. Guzi slightly opened the door unexpectedly. The study area was very large, covering more than 100 square meters. 8 large screens are hung on the walls, all of which are filled with complex codes. There is a screen with a chat interface with Guzio. The corners of Guzi's lips raised. It is indeed you, Third Master. Guzi has always been puzzled by the fact that the Third Master's identity is so mysterious and he is very busy. When traveling in Heiken, she accidentally saw him handling a short contract with skillful techniques and huge funds. She had doubts in her mind at that time, why the Third Master could handle such a professional short contract. She also asked Li Zhang in a vague way, but the Third Master was not involved in the management of the global center. If this is the case, what is the identity of the Third Master? Guzio kept mumbling in her ears that there was a nemesis in Black Eagle who was very skilled and could investigate him clearly. His IP address was always covered by him, but she had never met him in his previous life. Guzio concluded, he must have died young in his previous life. Guzi always listened to interesting stories. His son was paranoid, arrogant and unwilling to admit defeat. If someone dampened his spirit, it was good to let him know that there were people outside of him. Until, the Third Master said that she ruined his plan. His plan is for Black Hawk to control the Lu family Chable. Both the third master and the third young master are Lu Ziyi's sons. When Lu Ziyi was unconscious, the third master was guarding the operating room. He may not care much about Lu Ziyi, but he would not care about Lu Ziyi when Lu Ziyi's life or death was uncertain. There is only one explanation for the Lu family's conglomerate being handed over to others. The Black Hawk Group controls the Lu family and is still under his control. Chen Rishi is the second in command of the Black Hawk, the true master of the Black Hawk. Shenlong has seen the head but not the tail. Not a single photo has been revealed. Chen Rishi purposely approached her when she was in Lavis, and disrupted Huang Lu Ziwen's competition. He was obviously trying to attack Lu. From Ziwen. There is only one explanation: Lu Ziwen is the owner of Black Eagle. He died young in his last life, so he never met Ziyu. Therefore, it was not for nothing that Ji Sun followed Ziyu's orders. Ji Sun was originally Lu Ziwen's friend. Because he was in a coma for 5 years, after Chen Ruzi took control of the Black Hawk, he supported Lu Shija and Ji Sun in the ring. Lu Shija and Gu Chawiun were unscrupulous and lawless in their previous lives. It's because there is a Black Eagle who can tell them the truth, and a Black Eagle who doesn't have Lu Ziwen can tell them the truth. Gu Si's heart suddenly became enlightened, and she quietly withdrew from Lu Ziwen's house. Gu Si breathed a sigh of relief. The third master was in Black Hawk, Chen Ruzi's plan failed, and he would not seize power again. Lu Shija and Gu Chawiun could not cause any trouble. In this life, it will be safe and smooth. How was she going to tell Ziyu that his nemesis was his father? End of this chapter. Shocking. She came back with a smaller version of the boss. Author, and knows. Chapter 135. Chapter 135 The Walking Hormone Lu Ziwen. At noon, after class, Gu Si went to have lunch with Gu Ziyu. Gu Ziyu was still angry. Zhou Jinjin was amazed to see, Xiao Si, how on earth did you offend our Ziyu? After all, Gu Ziyu was obedient to Gu Si. Gu Ziyu ate expressionlessly. When he didn't need to perform, he was just a cold-faced guy. No matter how much Gu Si coaxed him, he couldn't coax him. Gu Si looked up to the sky and sighed, "It's too difficult for me. Her husband keeps saying that he doesn't love her, but he feels he belongs to someone else. Her son even had a temper with her." Lu Ziwen actually came to accompany her to class in the afternoon. His eyelids were all black and blue, and Gu Si softened, "Is it okay that you didn't sleep at night?" Well, Lu Ziwen was a little bored. The third master didn't sleep last night, which made him mentally tired. "Go home and rest, you don't have to accompany me to class." "I fell asleep, and I can't see you again." Lu Ziwen's consciousness was a little blurry. He was lying on his side, one hand still holding her finger with nostalgia, and Gu Si's heart moved. Yes, he fell asleep, and when he woke up, it was the third master again, but he couldn't see above. Gu Si had one hand intertwined with Lu Ziwen's fingers, and the other hand was flipping through the book and taking notes. Her heart felt soft and sour. The third master had someone in his heart, but Lu Ziwen was single-minded, and all he saw was her. 2 major classes were held together, and Gu Si did not change seats. During the break, she received a text message from Gu Ziyu. It was a photo that was secretly taken by a classmate and posted to the school forum. Lu Ziwen fell asleep, holding hands with her, while she was still doing homework with one hand. Alumni, the school belle really loves Lu Ziwen so much that she would rather write notes with her own hand than post them. Gu Ziyu, my parents are true love, and I am paying for my phone bill. I understand both. Gu Si. The baby, who was always obedient, started to feel strange and angry towards her. Gu Si, you are my only baby. Gu Ziyu, that's not sure, you have other babies. Gu Si, Mom, you are the only child in this life. All her motherly love is for Ziu. Gu Zi was so coaxed that he was in trouble. This was my father's decision, and my mother was lying to me again. Gu Zi. Baby, you are really hard to coax. Lu Ziwen accompanying Gu Zi to class has become a sight. His classmates in the medical school have long been accustomed to it and have acquiesced that they are in love. Because of Lu Ziwen, Gu Zi has become unattainable in University A, so he can only viewed from afar. The school beauty cannot be blasphemed. In the second class, there was an experimental class. Gu Zi and several girls teamed up to do experiments. Lu Ziwen felt bored and secretly left the classroom. He meow joked, Gu Zi, Lu Ziwen is so sticky with you. Yes, we hold hands even when we fall asleep. Lu Yu also smiled. Gu Zi smiled. After the experiment, she sent a text message to Lu Ziwen, but there was no reply. When she passed the basketball court with her book in her arms, she found a sea of people. Men and women formed a wall. A girl was calling Lu Ziwen's name. Gu Zi understood clearly in her heart. Walked over, and when the students saw it was her, they gave way. Lu Ziwen was playing basketball with a group of students. The bright sunshine fell on him. He was youthful and high-spirited. He was in excellent physical shape and had good jumping skills. His handsome shooting made his classmates scream. Stature, appearance, smile, and natural charm attract everyone's attention. Gu Zi's heart is like a deer. Men will always love an 18-year-old girl, and a woman will always love an 18-year-old boy. He is fresh and bright, like a beam of light, the only light in her dark life. Her gods. Lu Yu and he meow made a heart-holding gesture, shouting handsome in an infatuated manner. Their boyfriends had been forgotten by them. After Lu Ziwen shot, he high-fived his classmates on the same team. Sweat fell from his hair into his eyes. Lu Ziwen lifted up his shirt. At the hem, you can wipe your sweat casually, revealing your tight 8-pack abs, and the superior mermaid line, which attracted the barking of the female classmates like marmots. He meow blushed. I'm guilty, I'm blushing. Lu Yu joked, doesn't your boyfriend have abs? He only has fat. A female classmate next to her exclaimed, I don't envy Gu Zi's beauty, I envy her beauty. Lu Ziwen is a walking hormone machine. Gu Zi. She frowned as she watched the girls filming with their mobile phones. However, Lu Ziwen was so flirty without realizing it. He wiped his sweat casually and then started the second scene. After a hearty basketball game, Lu Ziwen was covered in sweat. He lifted up the hem of his shirt to wipe away the sweat. The female classmates donated water to the players. Whether in high school or college, there is an ambiguous little tradition left. When the person you like is sweating profusely on basketball, you can give him a bottle of water. Lu Ziwen wiped his sweat and saw Gu Zi. He waved. Gu Zi chuckled and Lu Ziwen went to get his coat. With the encouragement of her classmates, a tall girl with delicate makeup approached Lu Ziwen with a bottle of water and handed it to him with a blushing face. Senior Lu, please drink some water. Lu Ziwen looked at her with a distant look and politely refused. Thank you, no need. Why, you obviously didn't bring water. The girl plucked up her courage again. Lu Ziwen took his coat and walked towards Gu Zi with a smile. There seemed to be a road full of flowers under his feet. He has a face like jade and a posture like a pine tree, and he walks towards his sweetheart without hesitation. I have water. The girl was unwilling and unconvinced, but she could only watch Lu Ziwen helplessly. He took Gu Zi's thermos cup and drank her warm water. He blinked and said, Primary school girl, is the senior playing handsome? Handsome, Gu Zi glanced behind him. I was so fascinated that the elementary school girl fell in love with him secretly. It smells so sour. Lu Ziwen lowered his head and smelled her hair. Are you jealous? Before Gu Zi could answer, the girl came over and said, Lu Ziwen, I like you very much. The onlookers whispered, and the girls were not afraid of being embarrassed. Their best friend even exclaimed, "Bayazai, you are so brave, go ahead." "I don't know you," Lu Ziwen said calmly, still maintaining politeness. "I know that to you, I am a stranger, and I don't expect anything. I just want you to know that I like you very much," the girl confessed affectionately. Lu Ziwen's smile was slightly cold. Gu Ci was at the side, his voice was cold but domineering. "Classmate, he is mine." This is the first time she has sworn sovereignty in public, and no one else is allowed to spy. Lu Ziwen belongs to her alone, and her mind and body belong only to her. No one is allowed to covet you. She has long been dissatisfied with Lu Ziwen's rotten peach blossoms, and she doesn't like people fixing their eyes on him and looking at him wantonly, and she doesn't like Lu Ziwen being lusted after. But he was a public figure, so she had no choice but to accept it. "Lu Ziwen has long denied your relationship with him," the girl said stubbornly. "Everyone can pursue him." Gu Ci nodded and asked Lu Ziwen, "Really?" Lu Ziwen took the book from her with a gentle smile and said firmly, "Only Gu Ci in this world can chase me. With flowers that are as colorful as spring or 3000, he only wants one Gu Ci. Even though he knew he couldn't afford it, he still wanted to do it, and he was obsessed with it." End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Shocking. She came back with a smaller version of the boss. Author, and knows. Chapter 136. Chapter 136. The baby wants to take a family photo. While Gu Zia was waiting for his parents to come to pick him up, he had already seen the peach blossom incident caused by Lu Ziwen playing basketball on the forum, and sighed. There is really no place for his father's charm. When he saw them approaching from a distance, Gu Zia felt less unhappy. Dad didn't know what to say to his mother, which made her laugh. Gu Zia thought to himself that his father was indeed his mother's happy fruit. But what should I do if the other father doesn't like my mother? Give him a new brain? While he was having his own whims, Lu Ziwen and Gu Ci were already in front of him. Gu Ziyuzheng and Gu Ci were having a temper tantrum, with a cold face as if they were paralyzed. Lu Ziwen raised his eyebrows and asked in surprise, "Did you quarrel?" It's hard to describe Gu Ci's words. Gu Zia groaned and looked at Lu Ziwen as if he was a demon concubine who brought disaster to the country and the people. "Baby, are you still angry?" Gu Zia didn't answer. He was very cold, and showed an arrogance like a young master who ignored no one. Lu Ziwen and Gu Ci looked at each other, and Gu Ci smiled politely and without losing embarrassment. "How did you mess with him?" Gu Ci looked at Lu Ziwen with difficulty, "Because I was competing with you and my son ignored me." Lu Ziwen's heart for gossip aroused and asked Gu Zia, "Why did she offend you?" Gu Zia said with a cold face, "Don't bother me," in capital letters. "Don't take your anger out on me, little nanny. I don't want to care about you." Gu Ci couldn't laugh or cry. Seeing this, Lu Ziwen had to give up and asked Gu Ci, "How do you want to celebrate your birthday next week?" Gu Zia snorted coldly, with a particularly high sense of presence. Gu Ci couldn't laugh or cry. Ziu's birthday is also the 28th. "What?" Lu Ziwen turned around, "Were you born on October 28th? Huh, Gu Zia snorted again. He and Gu Ci were born on the same month and day. It was a beautiful coincidence. Both mother and son were Scorpios. They had a clear distinction between love and hate, and they were bound to retaliate. Gu Zia's birthday is also 1028 on his ID card. Lu Ziwen was quite surprised. This child and Gu Ci were indeed destined to be together. They are all Scorpios. Lu Ziwen looked at the angry Gu Zia. "You are really the brightest light bulb between me and Gu Ci." Gu Ci's heart skipped a beat. It was over, and she stepped on the thunder again. Guzio sneered, "Why did my father fail to control himself and insist on giving birth to me? It's his own fault and he will not survive." Lu Ziwen. Gu Ci. This is a bit ambiguous. "I'm not your father," Lu Ziwen asked Gu Ci, "is this an indiscriminate attack?" Gu Ci rubbed her eyebrows, smiled and asked, "Baby, how do you want to celebrate your birthday? What right does a light bulb have to celebrate a birthday?" "I don't deserve it." Guzio looked out the window expressionlessly, showing that he was really angry. "I am a little cabbage that my father doesn't love and my mother doesn't love." Lu Ziwen lowered his voice and asked Gu Ci, "The little milk bag has some tea, right?" Gu Ci maintained an awkward smile. "I am hereditary. Oh, no, it is red, which is close to the vermilion. If you have tea, I will have tea too." Lu Ziwen raised his eyebrows, "What's wrong with my tea? You say you don't like your sister, but you accompany her to class, you attract bees and butterflies, and you want to live a life of two with her. How can you flirt with her if you don't marry her? You are very cool, brother." Lu Ziwen could not refute, what he said made sense. "Gu Ci, what do you want for your birthday?" "I don't want anything, her wish has long been fulfilled. Her husband and son are by her side, and the family is reunited. The luck and blessings that God gives to everyone are countless. If you are too greedy, I am afraid that you will be in vain. Do you believe in gods?" Gu Ci looked at him gently, "Do you believe it?" "Don't believe it," Lu Ziwen said firmly, "I am my own god." Gu Ci was sad and happy at the same time. 20-year-old Lu Ziwen was confident and would reach out to grab whatever he wanted. Except for the third master in his body, his life was going smoothly. Have not experienced suffering, do not believe in gods and Buddhas. Only those who are sinking in the abyss will kneel down and worship the gods, begging for a little mercy. I believe. With one look from Gu Ci, Guzio knew what she was thinking. The mother and son depended on each other for life, and the suffering and despair they had experienced were memories and pain that they would never be able to erase in their lifetimes. Xiao Zio held Gu Ci's hand. He was immature and couldn't wait to grow into a man of his own, and silently gave Gu Ci warmth and strength. "Baby, are you not angry anymore?" Gu Xiao asked. Guzio snorted coldly, but held on to her. Gu Ci asked, "Baby, what do you want for your birthday?" "This is my first birthday." Guzio's eyes were misty, confused and uneasy. "What should I want?" Gu Ci felt great pain in her heart. After Zia was born, her condition was no longer good. She was in a state of confusion, so naturally she would not celebrate her birthday. Their mother and son were imprisoned in a world, and their life and death were in the palm of Gu Chaoyun's hands. How could they get into trouble with Gu Chaoyun, because Gu Chaoyun and them also have birthdays on the same day? Li Zhang felt sorry for them and secretly cooked them a bowl of noodles every year as their birthday meal. Ziyu never even got a happy birthday from him. There was no happiness to speak of during those years. "You can do whatever you want." Gu Ci hid the tears in her eyes. Guzio pursed his lips and glanced at Lu Ziwen. "I want to take pictures with you." "Okay." Gu Ci even softened her heart. "Let's take a family photo together, take a group photo." Mother and son stared at Lu Ziwen with their dark eyes. Lu Ziwen drove the car and smiled, "Little Nabeo, if you say something nice, I will promise you." "Dad." Lu Ziwen. "What does this sound like?" Guzio was arrogant, "It is your blessing to have me as your son. This is the nicest thing to say." Lu Ziwen saw him go crazy last time and endured the arrogance of the little nanny. Since seeing Ziyu go crazy last time, it is undeniable that Lu Ziwen does have some soft feelings for him. While playing in Heikan, Guzio changed into a swimsuit before going into the water. Lu Ziwen saw the dense scars on his chest and back, which were scars caused by years of abuse. He never mentioned it, for fear of hurting the child's self-esteem, but he felt it in his heart. Adults will become depressed and degenerate when they encounter setbacks. It is understandable that such a young child has been abused since childhood and is a little crazy. Moreover, this little nanny is really a little sickly child. Even though he is crazy, this is not the first time he has said that he hates him verbally, but there are always fruits and meals he likes on the table. Gusi once said that Guziu does all the shopping at home. The days are short in autumn, and the sun sets at 5 o'clock. The roses on the balcony are in bloom, and the house is filled with fragrance. Gusi has planted a few new pots of white magnolia, which is quite interesting. Gusi picked a few roses and placed them in a dark green vase. The pink and green colors alternated, which was very beautiful. Lu Ziwen, take this bottle of rose and put it in the bedroom. It will help you sleep better at night. Livy Rose has a quiet floral fragrance and is very effective in helping you sleep. End of this chapter. Shocking. She came back with a smaller version of the boss. Author, and knows. Chapter 137. Chapter 137 Little Gusi and Little Third Master. Lu Ziwen's face changed slightly, and he became sensitive and suspicious again. Does Gusi know that it was the third master at night, not him? If she knew, was he or the third master the one she cared about? Love arouses fear, love arouses doubt, he can't help but wonder who Gusi likes. What's wrong? Gusi asked. I was thinking about what gift to give you. Lu Ziwen smiled evilly. Xiao Ci doesn't lack anything, so why don't you give me to you? Gusi's ears turned red and her neck was a little pink. She was over 18, so it was not impossible. Lu Ziwen was originally teasing her. Staring at her red ears, Lu Ziwen's Adam's apple rolled. The two looked at each other with fire. Lu Ziwen wondered what Gusi was thinking about and stood up in a hurry. I'll go first. Go upstairs. Third brother, rose flower. Lu Ziwen turned around, picked up the vase, avoided Gusi's burning gaze, and left in embarrassment. Gusi glanced at the date, the 28th, which happened to be Saturday. She wanted to plan carefully how to celebrate her birthday, at least to give Ziu a perfect experience. The phone rang with an unfamiliar number. Gusi answered the phone while looking at someone else's birthday information for their children. Hello. Xiao Ci, it's Dad. Gu Wenliang said, next Saturday is your and Chu Yun's birthday. Come back and have a reunion dinner together. If you don't want to eat at home, you can go out to eat. Gusi's voice was cold. Dad, it's been 18 years, and you've only celebrated Gu Chunyun's birthday. You don't have to worry about me this year. She didn't wait for Gu Wenliang's response, hung up the phone, and blocked the number. Are you sad? How can a heart that has been broken long ago be sad? As she said, she has a father, but he is dead in her heart. She and Gu Chunyun had the same birthday. Growing up, Gu Wenliang and Lu Man were only busy with Gu Chunyun's birthday. They held a grand birthday party and prepared princess dresses, cakes, and birthday gifts for Gu Chunyun. All she got were guests. They gave Gu Chunyun a gift that she didn't want. She and Ziyu had no birthday fate. Growing up, only Lu Ziwen would celebrate her birthday. The first time he celebrated her birthday alone was when she was 5 years old. Lu Ziwen and Lu Ziyi came to the Gu family for a birthday party. The party was very lively. Gu Chunyun was dressed like a little princess, and stars were holding the moon, entangled Lu Ziwen. While Yuan was playing games, no one remembered that today was also the birthday of the second young lady Gu Ci. Gu Ci sat on the roof, reading a horror comic. The excitement and happiness in that room had nothing to do with her. When she was 5 years old, Gu Ci still didn't understand why her parents favored Gu Chunyun. She always felt that her own mother didn't love her. In order to be able to wearing nice clothes on her birthday, she had a fight with Lu Man and was beaten by Lu Man. Her hand was scratched by the glass, but Lu Man was indifferent. Xiao Gu Si was heartbroken and hid on the roof of the building to watch alone. Horror comic book. She shed tears while watching. Little Gu Si felt like the little girl in a horror story book who was eaten by others. No one cared about her or cared about her. What did I do wrong? She doesn't understand why her parents and brother don't like her. When Lu Ziwen sat next to her, Gu Si was startled and almost fell off the roof. Lu Ziwen held her waist and dragged her back. On that day, the sky was full of stars and the moonlight was gentle. The young Lu Ziwen seemed to have a sea of stars in his eyes. Third brother, I'm so sad. Xiao Gusai pointed at her eyes, it keeps shedding tears. Why are you sad? Lu Ziwen wiped away her tears. They only remember Gu Chuiun's birthday, not mine. Little Gu Si felt aggrieved. Third brother remembers. Little Gu Si glared at him fiercely, you lied, you only gave gifts to Gu Chuiun. The young man Lu Ziwen took out a small square box and said, I have only bought gifts for Xiaosai. That was given by Lu Zi and has nothing to do with him. My gift, Xiao Gusai cried with joy. Young man Lu Ziwen nodded, and little Gu Si opened the box. It was a very beautiful diamond hairpin. Little girls like shiny things. Gu Chuiun has many diamond hairpins, all of which are very beautiful. Lu Man has never bought one for her. 3 days ago, when she was writing in her diary, she secretly wrote down her wish, hoping to receive a beautiful hairpin on her birthday. Do you like it? Lu Ziwen asked. I like it, Gu Si was elated, this is my birthday wish, how does the third brother know? Third brother and Xiaosai have a good connection. Lu Ziwen took the hairpin and put it on her, are you still sad? I'm not sad anymore. When she was 5 years old, Gu Si was still easy to coax. The young Lu Ziwen was sitting on the roof, watching the stars and reading horror comic books with her. Little Gu Si asked, third brother, why don't you laugh? What? You love to laugh. Xiao Gusai looked at him innocently, aren't you happy when you are around Xiaosai? Why don't you laugh? Young man Lu Ziwen was slightly startled, then slowly showed a smile. Little Gu Si's eyes were innocent, I like to see third brother smile the most. Third brother is the most handsome brother in the world. Young man Lu Ziwen stroked her soft hair and said, Xiao Si is so good. The memories were tender and beautiful, and Gu Si couldn't bear to leave. The person who accompanied her that day was probably her mistress. Before she was 10 years old, she and Lu Ziwen got along very well. She truly felt that Lu Ziwen was the best brother in the world. At school during the day, when she was bullied, Lu Ziwen would rush up to help her fight. If he won, he would take her to buy ice cream to celebrate. His classmates all laughed at Lu Ziwen for raising a child bride. At night, Lu Ziwen would also play the violin with her, and without telling Lu Man, Gu Chuiun hired a teacher for her. One day she was bullied by Gu Chuiun and ran to him in the middle of the night. Lu Ziwen took her to pick out bird eggs. That time she fell from the tree and Lu Ziwen caught her below. That year, Gu Si was too young to understand. Now that she thought about it, she was shocked to see how the 10-year-old Lu Ziwen had so much strength to catch her after she fell from the tree. Be it the mistress or the mistress, they were the ones who loved her most before she was 10 years old. The mistress will accompany her to make troubles, do bad things, and get into trouble together, but the mistress always accompanies her. When she is making trouble, he laughs, and slowly guides her not to feel resentment, but to live happily every day. Why did they break up? Gu Si racked her brains and couldn't remember why she and Lu Ziwen had a falling out. She just remembered that when she was 10 years old, she and Lu Ziwen went to a hot spring hotel together. The memory of that night is a bit fuzzy. She had a high fever. From then on, Lu Ziwen's attitude towards her changed drastically, and he was no longer the third brother who doted on her. The only tenderness and beauty she had when she was young were all broken that year. Gucci's character gradually became sharp and extreme, and her whole body was covered with hedgehogs. Especially when she saw and heard that Gu Chuiun liked Lu Ziwen and that the Lu family and the Gu family were engaged, Gucci's anger and grievances reached their peak at that moment. She wrote a letter of renunciation to Lu Ziwen. End of this chapter. Shocking. She came back with a smaller version of the boss. Author, and knows. Chapter 138. Chapter 138 Silent Confession. Gucci couldn't help laughing when she thought about the past. She was really so childish when she was 10 years old. Suddenly I wanted to ask Lu Ziwen, what did she do at the hot spring hotel that year to offend him, and why did he no longer love her? Does he still keep the letter of breaking up the relationship? He treasured all the small gifts she gave him, and the letter of renunciation must still be there. After she turned 10, she really didn't have another birthday. But every year, she would receive a gift, which was not expensive. They were small jewelry or dolls that girls like. After marrying Lu Ziwen in her previous life, she realized that the stranger was Lu Ziwen. It is clear that Lu Ziwen has already given her a gift. Every year on her birthday, she received double gifts from Lu Ziwen. Although he never spent her birthday with her again, his gifts were never late. As he said, he had only bought her a gift in his life. Third Master, what are you thinking about? Gucci is unpredictable and uneasy. Upstairs. Li Zhang was so angry that he dared not breathe, and there was cold sweat on his forehead. Lu Ziwen looked at the surveillance video. It was the surveillance video of Gucci going upstairs today. There were cameras in the hidden corners of the room. On the top floor, apart from Lu Ziwen, is Lijiang. After Gucci and Guzi came to live together, Gucci came up twice. They all had a tacit understanding not to come up at night. Li Zhang would check the video every day as part of his routine. When he saw Gucci entering the study, he broke out in a cold sweat. Third Master. Li Zhang knelt down suddenly, please Third Master punish me. He was negligent. Lu Ziwen looked at Gucci. He went to the bedroom first, rummaged for things, and then went to the study. There was nothing in his bedroom. The study was an important place and there was another access control, so he was not worried about Gucci and Guzi meeting him. Breaking in by mistake. But he didn't expect that Gucci guessed the password correctly. 1028, her birthday. Go down, Lu Ziwen's voice was cold, and Li Zhang was shocked. After such a big mistake, the Third Master just passed it by in an understatement. When did he become so bodhisattva-hearted? Yes, Li Zhang escaped and felt like he had saved his life. When the Third Master just watched the video, the pressure became horribly heavy. Lu Ziwen understood that someone as smart as Gucci must have guessed his identity. He picked up the phone and wanted to call Gucci. After hesitation, he finally put down the phone. Looking at the chat interface with Guziu, he took the initiative to find Guziu for the first time. Black Hawk, where? Guziu, a rare guest, why are you always here and there, all at night? Do you have to do homework during the day like me? Black Hawk, it's been many years since I graduated. Guziu, should I call you uncle or grandpa? Lu Ziwen knew from the conversation that Gucci didn't tell Guziu, why? Black Hawk, call me daddy. Guziu, my dad is Lu Ziwen, are you? Lu Ziwen paused with his fingers on the keyboard. Black Hawk, what if it is? Guziu, I kneel down and call daddy, kowtow to you and serve you tea, okay. Lu Ziwen leaned back and looked at the chat history thoughtfully. Guziu, this kid's birthday is on the same day as Gucci. It's really fate. No wonder he is so attached to Gucci. Whose child is he? Why, after searching for so long, I can't find any clues. Gucci knew that Guziu was fighting with him, so why did he not inform Guziu of his identity despite knowing his identity? Downstairs, Gusi heated up the milk and brought it to Guziu. He happened to see Guziu and Lu Ziwen chatting. The screen was too large and could be seen clearly at a glance. Gusi glanced at the recorder and felt a little confused. "Baby, don't be too conceited, or you will get slapped in the face," she didn't know how to tell Ziyu. Once she told Ziyu, she would tell everything about Lu Ziwen and the third master. Can Ziyu accept it? The third master knows Ziyu's identity, so Ziyu will not be in danger. Now that Ziyu is still young, there is no threat to the third master's life. Does it matter whether we talk about this or not? Perhaps it would be good to have Ziyu and Sanya have such contact to cultivate their relationship. Mother. Drink milk. Have you finished your homework? It's done. Guziu drank milk angrily. Black Eagle came back without any news. Guziu couldn't help but complain, "Mom, this enemy must have been mute in his previous life." After Guziu drank the milk, he rinsed his mouth and climbed into bed. Gusi sat next to him and covered him with a quilt. "Ziyu?" Gusi asked jokingly, "Did you make any friends at school?" "No," Guziu's face bulged, "they treat me like a younger brother." Chen Liangdong also often asked him, has he made any friends? Guziu was also frustrated. He didn't like to make friends. People also regarded him as a younger brother. How could he make friends? "You and Black Eagle had a good chat," Gusi tentatively said, "you can try to be friends." "Mom, that's a mortal enemy," Guziu said resolutely, with a hint of reluctance to admit defeat. "Enemy." Gusi I don't make friends with my enemies," Guziu said coldly, "one day we will have to fight against each other." Gusi's mood was quite complicated. "Your father and I grew up fighting each other, and we thought we would keep killing each other throughout our lives. Unexpectedly, we turned a corner, got married, and gave birth to you. How wonderful it is." Guziu blinked his dark eyes. "Mom. You're sleepy, go to bed early." Gusi also had concerns. After her birthday, she found a suitable time to tell Ziyu that Ziyu was now on the right track. Although he joined the National Security Bureau, he was still young and could not do much. Let her baby have a good birthday first. A busy week of classes ended, and at the weekend, Gu Wenliang and Gu Chuiun both tried to call and ask Gu Si to go home for his birthday, but Gu Si refused. Gu Si planned the day's itinerary. Guziu was full of expectations and did not do any homework. He went to bed early to recharge his batteries. After she fell asleep, Gusi went to the rooftop. Lu Ziwen was on the rooftop, standing with his hands behind his hands, looking up at the stars. "The starlight tonight is so beautiful, like a river of stars, stretching across the night sky." Gusi thought to herself, "God is kind, tomorrow will be a sunny day. Why is Third Master here? Look at the moon. Third Master is really in a good mood." Gusi looked at the starry sky. "I couldn't sleep, so I came up to get some fresh air. I didn't expect the stars to be so beautiful." Lu Ziwen was silent. Gusi had walked behind him. "Third Master, please look back at me." He turned around and saw Gusi. She was wearing a pure white dress, a retro and beautiful diamond hairpin, pinned to her ear. The moonlight softened the coldness on her body. She stood under the starlight, as if a blooming orchid. Lu Ziwen's eyes moved slightly, unclearly. "What's the matter?" "This is the hairpin you gave me when you were young," Gusi said. "This is the first birthday gift I received from you, and I have kept it to this day." He gave it to me. Lu Ziwen looked away and turned to look at the night. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Shocking. She came back with a smaller version of the boss. Author, and knows. Chapter 139. Chapter 139 His Birthday Gift. Goosey Eye walked up to him, looked at the moonlight with him, and made a pun, "Does it look good?" Luziwen was silent, his eyes as dark as night. The evening breeze is blowing, and the sky is filled with stars. Goosey's dress was blown up by the evening breeze, and the moonlight softened their silhouettes, and they fell in love with each other. "Third Master, my birthday is tomorrow, do you know?" "Have no idea." "You have Luziwen's memory, how could you not know it?" Goosey Eye said softly. "We plan to take Gooseo to take a group photo tomorrow, don't you know?" "Do not care." Goosey Eye listened to his cold tone and was quiet for a moment. "My birthday is the same day as Guchawiyun's." Growing up, they only celebrated Guchawiyun's birthday. I never got a happy birthday from them. Even the gifts were picked up by Guchawiyun. "No, but there is a stranger who gives me a gift every year. I don't know what I will receive this year." Luziwen simply admired the moon and ignored it. Goosey Eye asked, "Third Master, what will I receive?" "Have no idea." Goosey Eye raised her head and smiled, "I'm really looking forward to what he will give me." Luziwen's silence is golden. Goosey Eye asked curiously, "Third Master, what gift did Luziwen buy?" "Bracelet." He spoke without hesitation. Goosey Eye, who thought he would be silent, was a little surprised and actually a little funny. Goosey Eye looked at the watch on her wrist and said, "Then should I wear the watch he gave me or the bracelet he gave me?" Luziwen didn't say anything, so Goosey Eye asked, "Third Master, aren't you going to give me a gift?" "Why should I give you a gift?" "Yes, I'm not a lover, and I can't be considered a friend." "You don't need to give me a gift." "I'm just greedy," Goosey Eye said calmly, and the two of them stood on the rooftop, admiring the moon and stars. At 12 o'clock, it was Goosey's birthday, and a splendid fireworks suddenly rose in the distance. After the fireworks exploded, the sky was like a phoenix flying, brilliantly red. "It's so beautiful," Goosey Eye said softly, "it looks like the Lu family's phoenix tree." The two of them watched the fireworks in silence as they slowly burned out. The 5-minute fireworks were like the light of a flourishing age, lighting up the night sky and her world. Companyship is the longest confession of love, and it is also his only word. There is a fireworks show in the paradise tonight, which can be seen from the rooftop. After the fireworks feast, Luziwen stood with Goosey Eye for a while and left silently without a gift or a happy birthday. He seemed to have come up to admire the moon and stars. The next morning, when Goosey woke up, there were 6 wrapped gifts in his bedroom, as if Santa Claus had sneaked in to surprise him. Goosey opened the gifts happily, each package was exquisite. Shoes, a cup with Zio's profile picture printed on it, Bluetooth headphones, a bunch of keychains with photos of Goosey Eye and Luziwen printed on them, a basketball, and a creative sleeping lamp. These are small gifts that 6-year-old boys will receive. Gooseo's cheeks were rosy and he was particularly happy. He liked every gift. Except for basketball, Goosey Eye suggested that he play basketball together a few days ago. Unexpectedly, she actually bought a basketball and brought a Popular Stars basketball with her. "Son, the basketball was given to you by Daddy." Goosey Eye leaned against the door. "The signature is real, and the star happens to be visiting City A. Even if he doesn't chase basketball stars, Goosey also knows how popular the superstar is and how difficult it is to get his autograph. No matter how smart a kid is, he always has a strong mentality and is instantly attracted to this basketball." "Mom, I like gifts." Gooseo's eyes were bright. There was a difference between what Goosey Eye bought him in ordinary times and what she specially gave him on his birthday. "As long as the baby likes it." "I also have something for Mom." Goosey had already prepared it and came over with a big box in his hands. Goosey Eye looked forward to opening it. It was 24 tubes of lipstick made by Goosey himself. He said boastfully, "Mom, I made them all by hand." "Wow. Gu Ci was pleasantly surprised. The lipstick colors were particularly complete. The tube was custom made. The black gold shell was printed with roses, which was very eye-catching. Gu Ci took out a tube of bean paste color to test the color. It was moisturizing, even in color, and with a hint of color. There is a faint floral fragrance. Baby, how can you make lipstick? It's just some mixture, it's very simple. Gu Ci's voice couldn't hide his pride. I added a little rose and rose essence. Isn't it very fragrant? Super fragrant. Gu Ci was surprised. It's an internet celebrity. On the benefits of having a son who is a top student. Gu Ci put his hands on his hips and smiled proudly. As long as his mother liked it, he started to prepare it very early. He studied several formulas, made 2 lipsticks, and chose the one he was most satisfied with. When Lu Ziwen came down, Gu Ci was trying on lipstick. She tried every color. Gu Ci made a very complete range of colors. She basically had all the colors she wanted. Even the Death Barbie pink has a very nice color and doesn't feel plastic at all. You buy so many lipsticks. I did it. Gu Ci couldn't wait to claim the credit. I did it with my own hands. Lu Ziwen came closer to smell it and smelled the fragrance of flowers. Gu Ci was at the age of youth and vitality. She looked good even without lipstick. She didn't have much lipstick at home. Most of them were given to Zhou Jinjin by brands, and she gave them to Gu Ci. You are so awesome. Lu Ziwen was sour, and Gu Ci emphasized that he had done it himself. As he expected, Gu Ci started to compare. What do you want to give to your sister? Lu Ziwen took out the gift. It was a woven bracelet with a small silver tag. On the small tag was Lu Ziwen's Q version avatar. He made a bracelet of his own surroundings and gave it to Gu Ci. Wow! Gu Ci has seen his peripheral avatar. This one is very cute and widely circulated. Zhou Jinjin has a pillow peripheral with this avatar. I didn't expect it to be made into a bracelet. Lu Ziwen showed off his wrist. He was also wearing a woven bracelet. The tag was Gu Ci's Q version avatar. The weaving of the 2 ropes and the color made it look like a couple's bracelet. It's beautiful. Although Gu Ci was revealed to have a bracelet, she didn't expect it to be a couple's bracelet, so Lu Ziwen put it on for her. Gu Ci asked, why don't I have one? We wear couple bracelets, why do you want them? You are not a couple, Gu Ci said with reason, are you? Lu Ziwen. Gu Ci. Gu Ci felt a little subtle in her heart. Baby, you are assisting me unconsciously. I'll give you a basketball, go out and exercise every day, don't stay home. Gu Ci thought to himself, Dad is changing the subject, The family of 3 had breakfast and took Gu Ci to the park to take pictures. Gu Ci made an appointment with a photographer. Instead of taking pictures in the photo studio, they went to the park to take pictures. They were playing and the photographer took pictures casually. Li Zhang and his team of guards were there. Protect them. The photographer was shivering. It was the first time he saw a client taking photos and brought a bodyguard with him. Moi. End of this chapter. Shocking. She came back with a smaller version of the boss. Author, and knows. Chapter 140. Chapter 140. Zia was kidnapped. Li Zhang even came over to check how he was doing with the photo, which made the photographer tremble. The security captain Li Zhang is a tough man, with a strong body, and he can easily fight at first glance. When the photographer came to check how the shooting was going for the 3rd time, he asked Li Zhang, do you want to take a photo of your bodyguard team? We won't take pictures, Li Zhang said very coldly, let's make them look better. The photographer secretly thought that, except for Lu Ziwen, Gu Ci and Gu Zia were not good with cameras and were even a little afraid of the camera. I took a lot of photos. The family of 3 took the most photos together. There were also a lot of photos of Gu Ci and Lu Ziwen, and each of them was taken individually. After Gu Zia got his wish, he was very satisfied, and his smile towards Lu Ziwen seemed much more sincere. Gu Xiao's travel photography, in addition to taking photos, also recorded VCR. When Gu Zia went to record the VCR alone, Lu Ziwen complained, seemingly truthfully, after lunch, let Li Zhang take him back. Gu Xia raised her eyebrows, why? It's your birthday, why should I spend the whole day with him? Lu Ziwen wanted to go on a date with Gu Xia, we don't even have time to be alone. Gu Xia looked at his brows and felt soft in her heart. She also understood what Lu Ziwen was thinking. But Zia was happy for his birthday. If he sent him back, Zia would definitely be unhappy. What to do? Are you hesitant? Lu Ziwen nuzzled the tip of her nose, his tone was like drinking a bowl of vinegar, is this little milk bag more important than me? Gu Xia was silent for a moment. Lu Ziwen raised his eyebrows in disbelief, Gu Xia, you have thought of your answer. Gu Xia is a perfect Duan Shui master, you are important, you are the most important. Send him away. Gu Xia was entangled. Ziyu was looking forward to a perfect birthday. If it broke up midway, he would definitely be very angry. Gu Xia racked her brains, thinking of how to deal with it perfectly. Lu Ziwen grabbed her neck and pulled her towards him, kissing her lips. If Gu Zia hadn't been there, he would have done this long ago. Xiao Xi, let's go on a date, don't take Gu Zia with you, okay? He has always been domineering, even if he has been pampering her and doting on her, he is still very domineering, with a rare coquettish tone. Gu Xi's heart softened, but she remembered Gu Zia's eyes and firm principles. Lu Ziwen kissed her again, his peach blossom eyes full of seductiveness, and he looked at her lovingly. The honey trap is too much. Lu Ziwen chuckled, even more confusingly, are you going on a date? Suddenly, a rapid voice came. Lu Ziwen looked at Li Zhang with an angry expression. You'd better have something important to do. Li Zhang said in shock, third young master, Miss Gu Xi, the young master is missing. Gu Xi's blood faded and she stood up suddenly, what do you mean missing? The photographer was recording with him at the waterside, but he couldn't find anyone in a blink of an eye. I have sent someone to check the park's surveillance. Lu Ziwen looked solemn, did you go somewhere else to shoot? The photography team called the photographer, but he didn't answer. Gu Xi called Gu Ziu, and there was also a busy signal. Li Zhang had already gone to locate Gu Ziu's location, and a group of people went to check the surveillance. Gu Xi's eyelids twitched and she asked the people in the photography team, where did you find the photographer? The boss of the travel photography studio was also panicked. The photographer in our studio suddenly fell ill this morning and asked for leave. The two of them were going to take outdoor wedding photos. I looked for a photographer in the photography group and saw his. After taking the photos, I felt that the style and temperament met your requirements, and the price was right, so I chose him. Gu Xi's face darkened, and he gritted his teeth and said, why didn't you tell me earlier about the photographer I found this morning? Do you want to talk about this little thing? The boss was so frightened by Gu Xi's coldness that his legs went weak. When the girl got angry, she looked really scary. Lu Ziwen made a quick decision, did you get the surveillance camera? Found it, third young master. They just left the northwest gate. The young master was being held in his arms and seemed to be unconscious. The last number of the license plate is A836. The security guard in the monitoring room read the monitoring report. Gu Xi ran to the northwest gate, Lu Ziwen followed her closely, and Li Zhang also led people to follow her in a hurry. The boss was so anxious that he asked the assistant beside him, did we get into trouble? The assistant was also frightened and nodded. The park is very big. By the time they reached the northwest gate, 3 minutes had passed. Lu Ziwen called the technical team at Universal to locate the license plate number and Gu Ziu's mobile phone number. Gu Si opened the car door and was about to sit in when Lu Ziwen pinched her waist and carried her to the passenger seat. "I'll do it." After he got in the car, the device and navigation were turned on. Li Jiang drove closely behind him and told him the location of the license plate number. Gu Ziu's mobile phone location and license plate number were together, 5 kilometers ahead of them. Gu Si kept trying to call Gu Ziu's cell phone, but all the calls were busy. Lu Ziwen is calm and calm, pay attention to your mobile phone messages. I know, Gu Si's heart was beating wildly. Ziyu, don't let anything happen to you when Ziyu. She stared straight ahead, feeling regretful and anxious in her heart. She shouldn't have let Ziyu out of her sight. How could she let Ziyu out of her sight? During this period of time, life was so peaceful and happy that she forgot about the potential crisis. Lu Ziwen saw through Gu Si's fear. He knew Gu Si too well. She was a very cold-blooded person, cold-hearted. Why did she have such a deep relationship with Gu Ziu after spending several months together? Why is it still 5 kilometers away? Lu Ziwen, drive faster. City roads are full of traffic. If you have to abide by traffic rules, you can't drive fast. Gu Si, calm down. Lu Ziwen held her hand, and Gu Si's hand was cold. You have to be calm when things happen. The bigger the problem, the more calm you have to be. Don't let fear defeat you. Gu Si took a deep breath to relieve the tension in her heart. When her phone clicked, a text message came from an unfamiliar number. If you dare to bring someone here alone, I will kill Gu Ziu. Who is it? Kidnapper. Gu Si looked at the address on the text message. He asked me to go to Jiangguan Park Road alone. Lu Ziwen glanced at the navigation map sent by Li Jiang. Gu Ziu was 4 kilometers ahead of him, and Jiangguan Parkway was in the opposite direction. Lu Ziwen put on his headphones and said to Li Jiang, take the people and continue to Gu Ziu positioning tracking. Gu Si and I went to Jiangguan Park Road, and the technical team kept the line open. Yes, Li Jiang said in a deep voice, third young master, be careful. Li Jiang continued to move forward. Lu Ziwen made a sharp turn in the middle and headed towards Jiangguan Park Road. Gu Si said, Lu Ziwen, he asked me to go alone. I won't let you take risks alone. Lu Ziwen's eyes were steady, unless I die. Gu Si was horrified and shouted, stop talking nonsense. Neither you nor Ziu will die. End of this chapter.